Hello and what's up, everyone, and welcome back to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm that guy, the bald, the beard, the beautiful, the host of this wonderful show, Piers Austin, and we are brought to you live by Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook, on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter, and you can find us on Instagram. You can find us anywhere as long as you're finding us, and you're finding us here tonight live. I have a very special guest. She is known as the arm collector, so I don't want to keep her waiting too long, or she may take one or two of my arms. I don't know, but I'm going to be bringing out the current PWWA champion, Jessica Troy. But in just a couple of minutes, guys, I just want to take a quick second to thank some of our wonderful, lovely sponsors. First up is A-Rock Design. So A-Rock Designs is that company that you're seeing all over all the wrestling Facebook groups and pages. They make custom cups, tumblers, hoodies, keychains, t-shirts, you name it, they make it. They made me this wonderful CM Punk tumbler. I absolutely love it. Everyone knows that I'm a huge CM Punk mark, so, bite me. I love this cup. It's amazing. And they make everything, not just wrestling related as well. So if you want different style of cups, hit up my good friend Ashley Rodriguez, and she will hook you up with an amazing deal. Next is Signal Studio. So if you're an independent professional wrestler and you want to have some badass music to walk to the ring to, right? Well, my boy at Signal Studios, Rafi Tomasian, can mix, master, hook up, make some of the sickest beats, tunes, music, whatever it is you hip mother cats want to call it, he can do it. Or if you are in Sydney and you're in a band or you're a musician, you just need a comfy place to rehearse or a nice comfy place to record, you can go to their studio. It's really nice. It's really relaxed environment and gets your creative juices flowing. But ladies and gentlemen, my third sponsor, and definitely not my least favorite sponsor, hasn't given me an image yet, but I'm going to give him a shout out anyway. And they are Wasif Championship Belts. That's right. Wasif Championship Belts. If you're a pro wrestling fan like I am, you either own championship belts or want to own championship belts. That's every wrestling fan around the world that I know definitely wants one of them. So if you want to get your hands on either a custom championship belt or a replica of your favorite championship belt, hit up Wasif Championship Belts. They have special payment plans where you can pay as little as $50 per paycheck until that belt is paid, and you will have that belt in your hot little hand as quick as they can get it to you. Believe me, they do some amazing work. But guys, also, if you want to help this show out that little bit more, head over to prowrestlingtees.com/MWA World and pick yourself up a nice bit of merchandise. Pick up a Shooting the Shit shirt, eh? Help me out. Help a brother out. But before I piss off my guest any longer and she takes both my arms, I'm going to bring her out. Ladies and gentlemen, the arm collector, Jessica Troy.
How are you, Jessica? Hi. Hello. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you for coming on and being a guest on the show. It's great to have you on and great to be able to sit here and talk to you and go live tonight. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very excited.
So am I. But before we get into it, we have the chat is going off tonight. So we had David Miller in here before the show. He was so keen. He was here early to get his ticket to be front row and seat.
Wow,
we got Joel Southgate in here as well. He's always here.
Hi, Joel.
Alcoholic Adam. We have Kyle Eade as well. These guys are all in it. We've got Isaac Gallen here as well. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. But Jessica, what a time. PWA coming back after a long hiatus due to this horrible, horrible pandemic. And, the first show, Wrist Locks and Pile Drivers, I was lucky enough to actually be in attendance for that event. And one of the names that I got told that I had to watch is you, Jessica Troy. They said, see how amazing she is. You did not. Definitely not. Definitely not. You did an amazing, you had an amazing match in that 6-man.
Thank you.
And it was a really enjoyable show.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you guys tore the house down. And, I've been telling people that are friends of mine that are in the other side of the world, they ask me, how was that Aussie wrestling show you went to, mate? And I go, well, mate, that was just as good as any professional wrestling card that I've seen from any company.
That's what PWWA does.
And absolutely. But Jessica, you got into wrestling in what, 2014?
2014. I started training in January 2014.
And before you got into that, were you like a huge wrestling fan growing up? Like, were your
Yeah.
family surprised that you got into it, or they're like, it's
No,
just
I wouldn't really say they were surprised because ever since I was like maybe 10, I kept telling my mum and my dad I was going to be a wrestler. And then I just kept telling them. And then I became 17 and then I started being a wrestler. So that's where we're at now.
yeah, right.
Um,
And no, sorry, go on.
and I was going to say, they were never really shocked. Like you hear stories about how some parents try to talk their kids out of it, whereas my dad tells me to do crazier things. Like when I had the cage match, he was like, "You better jump from the top, right?" I'm like, "Dad,
So your dad's telling you
calm
to do
down."
the high spot straight off the bat.
Yeah, straight away, I'm like, "Dad, they're scary. They're hard. I want to be a technical wrestler."
I don't want to do that death-defying shit. Leave that to
No,
Mick
no, no,
Foley to come
no.
off cages.
Absolutely not.
But it seems like you know your family were very supportive. Were they fans of wrestling when you were younger as well?
I don't know. I remember my brothers because I have two older brothers. I feel like
Yeah.
they would watch it with my dad possibly because someone was watching it on TV and I used to hate it because,
Really?
well, I was a bit younger and I never actually watched it. As soon as I saw it was wrestling on TV, I was like, "Oh, gross, boys, yuck." I wanted to watch the Powerpuff Girls or like something more fun. But then I actually eventually
But,
sat down and watched it with my brothers and my dad, and then I was the annoying one who always wanted to watch it. So
yeah,
dad,
that
I think, liked it the most. His favorite was always The Undertaker and Santina Marella.
Undertaker. That's quite a mix of
It
favorites there
is.
though, like Santino and Undertaker. So
He knows what he likes, but now they've all been understated by me. I'm now his favorite wrestler. So
well, I kind of feel like that has to be the case though. Like it's when people
yeah,
ever ask me, they go, "Who's your favorite wrestler?" And it's like what day of the week is it? Like, dude,
yeah,
like
so
how much
true.
how much how much time you got? But if I had a family member that was a pro wrestler, it's like
That one.
that is my favorite pro wrestler.
And
But
the same as
you know,
my mum. Like I always think that I'm my mum's favorite wrestler, but then she always talks about how good Ricky is or how good Paris is. I'm like, Mum, what about me?
so your mum's putting over the other guys that you're wrestling
Yeah,
with
she loves
instead of you.
Paris. She loves Paris so much. Mum's
Well,
actually watching this right now, I'm pretty sure. She said she was going to watch, so she better be watching.
hello, Mrs. Troy. Hope you're watching.
Hello. Hi, Mum.
Thank you. Say hi, mum. That's it. You're on shooting the shit. Oh, sorry. We better not. We'll bleep that out. You know,
Oh,
because we
perfect,
don't want to
perfect.
offend mum. But but so getting into wrestling in 2014. So you said you were about 17 when you got
Yeah, I
into it.
started when I was 17. Yeah.
And what was the experience like? Like going and training and learning those first bumps.
I think it's pretty different to what everyone gets now because I obviously started in Newcastle because that's where I grew up. So I started at the House of Free Fighting, which is Newcastle Pros School. So the first day I rock up and it's Adam Hoffman taking training and it's me and like four other boys and there's no mats there or anything. So we're just learning how to do like the basic kind of chain wrestling, which is pretty good because that's what I love to do the most now. So and then maybe that's why. But yeah, I think it's pretty different training now. I never had to go through a tryout or anything like that. It was very more relaxed, whereas now it's very much like there's so many people trying out that you have to try to like sort through the people that just aren't going to make it.
Yeah, I mean, like the training of pro wrestling is so intense, and I think that a lot of fans probably see it as, oh yeah, I've been watching wrestling for 20 years. I can jump in the ring and do that. It's like
Yeah,
that's great. I've also watched ER the whole time it was on. Doesn't mean I'm ready for
exactly. But
brain
I
surgery.
can't. Yeah,
you know, but I think what like the amount of fitness and the skill that goes into it, I think is really something that a lot of fans don't really appreciate it until
mm,
like unless they're like true hardcore fans of it and go deep into it. But I
yeah, for
think the
sure.
appreciation of it definitely comes for getting in that ring and trying to run the ropes or take a bump and really understanding what you guys go through every time that you get in the ring because
Yeah,
it's
I remember when I first started training because we could only ever use the ring on show days because we didn't train in the ring. So I learned how to run the ropes and I had bruises on my back for like weeks afterwards just from how hard hitting the ropes are. So you have to get used to that.
Yeah, I've been told that a few times. Like the ropes
Mm.
are one thing. Like once you get in there and start hitting them, it's like you don't realize how much that just impacts your body, like the
Yeah,
thickness
you get all
of it.
these bruises and it's just It feels so strange to do to yourself, but then you just keep doing it because it's fun.
But the first bump, do you remember sort of landing and just
Yeah.
going like, "Oh,
I
why am I
remember my
here?" Or was it like, "Let me do it
that's
again"?
exactly what it was because I remember it happened because we had like I think 3 mats stacked on top of each other on concrete because obviously no
Yeah.
ring. So I did it. I thought it was gonna feel fine because I was like, oh, people do this, it'll be easy. So I did it and I winded myself straight away. And I thought that sucks. But then obviously
But
doing it in a ring is like 10 times better. So that did help.
and how long were you training there before you started doing matches, or was it sort of a long process in the training?
Not long enough, really.
Really?
um, I had my first match, which was just a quick entrance in the Nui Pro Rookie Rumble in I think May 2014.
Wow.
Yeah. But all I did was come in, do like a head scissors, and then got eliminated. But still, that was my first match, I guess. But then after that, it took maybe a couple more months before I was on shows a bit more regularly.
But you also got to train, like Shazza trained you as well. She had a hand in your
Yeah,
training. Was that
yeah,
still in
absolutely.
Newey, or was that when you came to Sydney to train?
No. So on like the weekends, we take like a car full of people, myself, like Charlie Evans and stuff. We go to PWA training and we
Mhm.
train there, obviously under like Shazza, Madison, Mick, Robbie, and then eventually I moved from Newcastle to Sydney in like maybe 2019 or something. No, it would have been 2018, I guess. I moved pretty soon into my wrestling career down to Sydney, and then I started training full time at PWA, and that was when I really went under like with Madison and Shazza, Robbie, Mick.
Such a great team down at PWA, like
Yeah,
to learn from. It's the learning tree of Madison Eagles and Mick Moretti
that
and
helps
Robbie Eagles.
so much. Yeah, especially it
You know,
being a female pro wrestler, being under someone like Madison, you just learn so many of the little tiny things that no one ever thinks of and no one ever tells you, but then it just makes everything 10 times easier. And you're like, wow, you're a genius, you're a god.
yeah, and that's the thing that you hear from a lot of people, and it's like from fans and also other workers of just the
Mm.
quality of what PWA puts in. But with that, like with your training, was that when you started developing a character more of when you moved up to Sydney and you started training full time, or did you have your sort of character set out when planned how you wanted it to be when you started training originally in Newey?
No, I definitely didn't see myself where I am now when I started training. I didn't really have many ideas for my character, I don't think. I remember myself and Charlie Evans were thrown into the floozy role, and we've had Adam Hoffman. That was fun. We got to be really mean, obviously, and yell at the crowd. But then I think I got more into my character by going overseas for a couple of months. I went over with Mick Moretti. We went over there and trained at a bunch of different places, and I came back, and that's when I think I kind of started focusing a bit more on the arm stuff then. And then as the
Yeah.
years just go on and on, I think I just really found what I love to do, which is technical wrestling, and I really love arm bars and everything. So I was like, well, that's just I like taking my character from what I like to do in the ring. So that's where that comes from. But I definitely didn't get it straight away. Some people do, but I just didn't.
Your wrestling style is like that, though. That armbar you do is absolutely sickening. Like it is
Thank you.
amazing. Like it looks so good, and how you are in the ring. And I said this last time when I interviewed Paris, and I was having a conversation with him at the PWA show where I noticed, the female wrestlers were all in intergender matches. Now,
Yeah,
I'm a fan of women's wrestling, and I'm a fan of men's wrestling. I was never a fan of intergender wrestling, and I'm not going to say anything bad about it. It's just not my cup of tea, and I think it's
that's
just
fair. That's completely fair.
but I think it's like when you grow up in a certain generation of like men hitting women is bad.
Yeah.
So
No,
that's
I
why
get that.
automatically that sort of stuff I just tune out. But for me, watching you guys in the ring and the female performers that PWA had there, to me, it was like I'm not watching a man versus woman. I'm just watching two people having a fucking fantastic wrestling match. And the matches were done really, really well. Like to the
Yeah.
fact that it didn't matter who was in the ring, whether a man or woman. The matches were great. I walked away, there was nothing negative about any of those matches that were
Oh,
on the
that's so
card.
good.
And like I said, for me, who's always been like, nah, I'll check out something else. I was I was hooked. I was every match, like even the main event with you guys in it. You guys did an amazing job, and the bumps that you guys took were pretty crazy and out there. But getting into your character, the arm collector, like how did you come up with all that? Was it arm bars were like, what, I really like the style of like, really yanking someone's arm off, and then how did you all put it all together? Because it's done so well.
I think how it started was the first thing I learnt for the arm collector was actually the La Mystica, which is the head scissors into the armbar, into the Fujiwara armbar, and I just love that transition because I used to want to I do like high flying a little bit because my favorite was always like Evan Bourne or Matt Seidel, so I wanted to be like a high flyer, but then I was like, maybe no. So I love the technical transitions into it. So after doing that, I started learning how to work down the arm if I wanted to use that as my finisher. And I realized how much I love all the different transitions and all the different ways to bend and like just like manipulate someone's arm. So I realized that's what I really like to do. So I just kept learning all these different things, and everyone kept showing me different things, all the cool things I can do in the ring. Someone at training has showed me. So thank you, everyone at training. So it's just
But
yeah.
that's the thing about training and perfecting it. And like I said, anyone who's watching this who hasn't seen a Jessica Troy match, please, after this interview, go and check it out, because this is one of the best arm bars I've ever seen in wrestling.
Oh, thank you.
We do have a question from Kevin Rodriguez from Georgia in the United States. He wants to know, do you feel chain wrestling plays to your benefit in intergender matches?
That's a pretty good question, actually. Sometimes I find it a bit of a challenge because obviously a lot of the boys are a lot bigger, and in chain wrestling it is no, that I think if you take someone down, they go down, but size does help a lot. So I find it pretty fun to do in my matches against like Matt Dime or Paris, someone a bit more my size. But in my latest match against Jack Bonza for the PWA Premiership, we chain wrestle at the start, and you can tell how like out of the waters I kind of am. Like I'm not used to someone that size being able to just manhandle me over the ring, so he counters very fast, which makes sense, but it's still just a lot of fun. And I try my best, but I can only take the big boys down so much.
Oh, exactly. But
Yeah.
it's done well. But
Yeah.
you mentioned Evan Bourne, Matt Seidel as one of the guys as your inspirations. As far as chain wrestling, like who are some of your favorite chain wrestlers that have really inspired you and inspired your ring work?
I really like watching William Regal.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good go-to one. Nigel McGuinness, love watching that. Yeah, that helps, obviously. Brian
Especially
Danielson.
especially in his matches in Ring of Honor, like in
Yeah,
the
that's where
Elite.
I've been watching him recently. Yeah, so that's been really good to watch with like his spiky hair. That's really cute.
Oh yeah, he just looks like some punk rocker from
Yeah,
like
I love it. And he comes out to the music. Oh, it's so good.
yeah, like I was always a big fan of very similar style of that, just that chain wrestling, submission wrestling. Like back in the day, Taz was the guy for me.
Yeah.
Like, because his style is, being a shortish guy compared to the generation he was in. Like you just thought he was a tough badass. Like the way that he presented, but the style that he wrestled in as well was not unbelievable, unrealistic for
Yeah, no,
someone his
exactly.
size.
Yeah, which is what I try to take into consideration with intergender wrestling. But then sometimes you just have to throw people around, even though I'm half their size. If I take them down the right way, they'll probably go.
But that's the
Yeah.
thing. You look at something like judo though. Like a good
Yeah,
judo
exactly.
can take down
Yeah.
if you're a 5'4" woman who's a black belt in judo, you could take down
Yeah,
a
anyone.
6'6". Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's proven. But you did mention getting a chance to go over the United States, and you wrestled in Rise and Shimmer, and I was watching a few of your matches the last couple of nights, and you got to be in a match involved with Asia Kong,
I knew you were gonna
who's
bring that. Yeah.
I had to. She's a legend.
Yeah,
She's
she is. That was a crazy night because we didn't know until like that day, and we're like, okay, we will do that. Thank you very much.
But what was it like before the show? Like, speaking with her, was she like, telling you guys this is how the match is going to be, or was it very collaborative with her?
It was very she was because it was Aja Kong and Hiroyo as well, and they were very much generals of the match, but then they'd let us do all our stuff, whatever we wanted to do, basically. They were just like the sweetest people backstage. She got a picture of us because we were all wearing like the same purple colored gear. So she was like, picture. And we're like, yes, thank you so much. So it was just like the best kind of experience you hope for with someone like that. It was so amazing. And you learn so much as well doing a match, even just being involved in a match with anyone who's has that kind of experience. I think you just learn so much.
Oh, absolutely. You know, she's been around since the 80s. So
Yeah,
like
exactly. It's insane.
the amount that she can sort of give you guys, and the fact that, you know, because you guys is, you know, going over there, you know, for her to say, hey, I'm going to get in the ring and partner up with you guys. And, you know, what did you walk away from that match? Was there any sort of thing major that you sort of walked away and went, wow, that was a real eye opener?
I don't know if there was. I was more just like starstruck for the rest of the tour. I was over there. I think I was like, wow, that's the beginning. Where do we go to from here? That might have been the same. I don't know if it was that Shimmer or the Shimmer after where I actually got to wrestle Candice LeRae as well, which is one of my other like big inspirations, especially growing up. Like Charlie got me a Candice LeRae t-shirt for my 18th birthday.
That's
So she was
awesome.
always a massive inspiration. And then when I saw I was wrestling her, I was like, oh God, every time I come here, there's just more and more things.
But that's, you know, and I was going to mention Candice because, you know,
Yeah,
again, she's one of the top women, you know, performers in the world, and I think she has been for quite some time.
for so many years. Yeah.
You know, like she's, you know, and underrated too.
Yeah,
But
100%.
how did you find, you know, getting in there? Like, did it take you a while to sort of settle the nerves, or was that sort of like once you got in the
Yeah, you can
match, you were
ask
okay?
Shazza about it because she was there backstage when I was still freaking out and shaking after the match. I think that's probably like that's it was weird. It must have been like the most nervous I've ever been before a match when I wrestled Candice, maybe because I was when I got backstage afterwards, I was like still shaking and being like, "Oh my God, I can't believe that just happened." And Shaz is like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about me." I don't think she's ever seen me like that before, so that was strange.
But I think that the nervousness is a good thing because it shows your passion
Yeah,
and desire for it, you know. And that's the thing. If you're just like, nah, all right, I'm
yeah,
gonna wrestle Candice, all right, yeah, all right, yeah, cool. I partnered with Asia, yeah, she was okay, you
yeah.
know, like she missed a spot, but okay, you know, like
Can you
I
imagine?
think you've got to have that. Yeah, exactly. Just go up and go, excuse me, champ.
That's not what we discussed.
Exactly. You were supposed to raise my right hand. You raised my left hand. Right. Let's get it right if we're going to do this again. Okay. But, you know, getting to be involved, you know, in a match like that, and also tour the United States, you know, with someone like Charlie Evans, who you said who's a close friend of yours, that you guys pretty much started at very similar times in your career. But what's it like for you going over there with such a close friend and going through these things with one of your best friends?
It's so cool, especially since the last couple of years we've been going over because I live in Australia and she's moved to the UK. We meet in America. So those 2 weeks when we see each other, that's like what, 2 weeks out of like 6 months that we only get to see each other. So we just spend literally every single minute with each other. And Shaz must hate us by the end of it because we must be so annoying, staying up till like who knows how late at the nighttime while Shaz is trying to go to sleep. It's
Oh, I mean, I'm sure Shaz doesn't mind a party every once in a while. Like,
yeah, every once in a while, I guess. After the wrestling though. But no, it's
yeah.
great to get to see her over there and just to like just work out with her, even just being in the ring with her as well, because she's also one of my like big inspirations because she's learnt so much throughout her career as well, especially going to the UK. So I love going over there and tagging with her because I just learned so much from her as well.
Oh, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
you know, as far as like, you know, going over the States, did you notice any differences between the American style compared to the Australian style of pro wrestling? Was there anything that really stood out for you there?
There is. I think it would be the Australian style of wrestling is such a weird mix of so many different styles of wrestling because
Sure.
America is like the American Indies, whereas in Australia you get a mix of the American Indies, a mix of Japanese, a mix of the UK and British style wrestling. So it's like a weird mix of everything. So that's pretty cool to be a part of because then you get to do whatever kind of match you really want.
Well, I mean, plus you get to learn different types of styles. It's like, all right, well, I can take
Exactly.
a little bit
Yeah.
of this,
And
a
you can
little bit of
work
that.
it. Yeah.
But how long was, because you've done a couple of tours of the United States, correct?
Yeah, I've done a few. I can't remember. Maybe 6,
Oh wow. So
maybe.
what were
Yeah.
what were some of your highlights of your trips over there though?
So definitely the Aja Kong and then Candice LeRae. I got to wrestle so many just amazing girls over there that I've wanted to wrestle before. So that was really, really fun. The training over there as well. I love training over there and just learning from as many different people as I can. And then all the Mania weekends are always pretty fun as well. It's such a hectic time to
Oh
be
yeah.
involved in a Mania weekend where you have to travel from a show to the other show on the same day after spending the entire night out with your friend Charlie Evans at this random bar that you shouldn't have done. So
So
it's just
hungover wrestling and then doing another.
it's insane.
Oh man, like it sounds like it's a wild time, but I did see another one of your matches, which was you and Charlie versus Britt Baker and Chelsea Green, and I thought that match
Yeah,
was so well done. Like it's such a
thank
solid
you.
match, and you could really see that you guys were like on par with these women who are,
Mm,
right now they're probably two of the top talents in
yeah,
AEW.
exactly.
But
Yeah.
how you guys handled yourselves in the ring, everything from it, like from bell to bell, I thought that was a really solid tag match.
Thank you. That was really fun. We got to wrestle them, I think, 3 times all up as like tag teams, and I got to wrestle Chelsea in a singles match as well. So there was like a few times we were going to America where every time we were going over, we knew we are just going to go and wrestle Chelsea and Britt. We're like, oh, I'm excited because we know these people. We're just going to keep getting better and better. So it was really cool.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. Like it was a great match. And like even some of the spots that you guys had in there were just really well thought out, really well put together. I enjoyed it. I don't know the venue you had it in, but I think it was like the PWG building, but I'm not too sure. But
Mm.
very solid match. But you know, getting into obviously now with PWA, with shows starting to come back, and the Premiership tournament happening as well. How often are you finding yourself getting into training? Are you training every day at the moment, or is there still some sort of restrictions on when you can and can't go to the gym?
No, so I'm pretty much okay now. The only kind of restriction I have is my everyday work restriction. But I go to training 3 to 4 times a week, and then at the gym as well, like 4 to 5 days a week. So it's pretty good because at PWA they do like training every single day basically. So no matter when I go, hopefully there's training on. So it's been really good to get back in the ring with everyone and just to see everyone again as well has been really, really good. Because there was a couple of months back there when there was zero training going on, and I just thought I was wasting away and I was going to lose all the wrestling knowledge I have. But some of it stayed, so it's okay.
What did you do to keep yourself occupied during quarantine and lockdown?
I was still working, so I still had to go to work basically. But it was weird because there was no wrestling on. I had my weekends free and I had my nights free from like a training. So what did I do? I got into art because I've always been a pretty arty person. So I did some paintings and drawings. I made some arm necklaces
Yeah,
out of
nice.
clay because I am a very arty person. I painted this.
Here we go. Let's check it out. Let me just make it a big screen. Hey, look at that. So you got the arm and everything.
It's actually missing a finger at the moment, but I can fix that.
Oh yeah, a little bit of putty. Get that nice and ready for the ring.
Yeah, actually, it fell off the first time I brought it out to the camera, which was called the arms. I broke it on the Tyler belt right before I came out, so I was like, "Oh well, that's a shame." And I hot glued it back together, but it's fallen off again, so that's okay. I have to do it again.
Exactly. At least you got like a back scratcher. You just walk around. Just
Yeah, exactly. It's actually very handy. Except for when I have to walking out to the ring because I have to remember to put the Tyler belt on, and then I have to grab this, and I have to grab my hair. I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to go. There's just so many things.
I'm with Robbo. That arm scares me. It terrifies me and impresses me.
That's pretty fair, I think. It is a bit of a weird thing. I actually, when I decided I wanted a mannequin arm, because it's just a, guys, it's a mannequin arm, calm down.
It
I
doesn't take real
sent
arms.
my, I sent my mum a message saying, "Do you know where I can get a mannequin arm?" And she's like, "Why would you ask me that?" It's such a random question.
It's a wrestling thing, Mum.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh, it all makes sense now." It took her a good like 2 minutes to click in her head, and she's like, "Oh, arm collector, of course."
Kyle says more arms for Jess.
Exactly. Please, more, as many as
See,
possible.
that's the thing. Like, there's going to be people at the next PWA show that have just ripped off a whole heap of mannequin arms from Target.
Oh, that'd be so cool. That was
That
out
would be.
because I was walking around the shops with my mum, and I was like, "Where will I find a mannequin arm?" And she's like, "Oh, there's one right there. Just go take it." I'm like, "Mum, that's cotton on. I can't just go in there and take it."
Your mum's got the old school mentality. It's just an arm. They won't miss it.
No, they won't know.
Exactly. Just be like, what are you doing? I'm just taking an arm.
This was
Thank you very
mine.
much.
I brought this in with me. It's fine.
Yeah, it's like, can I give you a hand? No, I'm taking my own. Thank you.
I'm taking my own. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. But so you're the current PWWA champion. So I made the mistake the other day by calling it the women's championship because that's what I believed it was. And then someone quickly corrected me on Twitter and said, no, idiot, it's PWWA champion. It's an intergender title. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So can you
The letters
explain?
don't add up.
The letters don't add up, but also I'm
letters
pretty
do not
sure it
add
had
up.
I'm sure it had women's on the belt.
I can show you. It's right here, actually. I have so
Oh,
many
here you
props
go.
with me.
There you go. Here's something we brought out later. There you go.
So
So the
it does say
PW
women, and it also has a picture of Luchadorus.
that is cool. So changing it from the women's championship to the PWWA championship, what was the thought around that, and was that something that you supported the idea of as well?
Yeah, I support it 100% because it's been honestly like such an honor to hold that in PWA where people before me has held it. Like you have Madison, you have Dakota Kai and Billy Kay and all that have had this belt. But then we realized that the amount of just intergender wrestling that we do, and just I wouldn't just wrestle the girls every show. I'd wrestle some of the boys as well. So they just made it open for everyone, whether you're a girl, male, anyone that wants to challenge for it can. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it is as well. It opens it up to more than just sort of closing, and I think that's with one promotion that I heard of, and I can't remember the name of the promotion, but they said, why did you start retiring certain belts? It's like, well, having a cruiserweight belt is limiting to who can compete for a cruiserweight belt. Having a King of the Deathmatch belt is limiting who is going to compete for that belt because there's only so many people who want to wrestle that style. If you have that's why if you have more of a broad title, you are then opening up to anyone can challenge for it. So it makes it more of a competitive championship. And, in the world of pro wrestling, you want everything to be competitive. So,
yeah, exactly. So I thought it was really cool. So after one of my matches, I already had the belt. They had Madison come out to the ring and she got on the mic saying that, oh, you're not just going to defend it against girls anymore. You're going to have to defend it against everyone. And I think the crowd thought she was going to say, you're going to have to defend it against me. And then we're going to have a match, which I would love to happen. But instead, just open up to everyone now. Hopefully her sometime in the future.
absolutely. I'd love to see that match. But
Yeah.
did you know that's what was going to go down before you went out, or was that a complete surprise for you?
No, I was aware that was going to happen. I was 100% all for it because I got to wrestle even more people. Because I learn so much from each individual person I get in the ring with. So I have the mentality of like the amount, like I just want to wrestle everyone almost. So yeah.
Who is on your wrestling wish list?
Oh, that's
Locally,
such a hard question. Locally?
locally. Let's go with Australia, and then
Oh, okay.
we'll expand out.
Even that's hard. Well, obviously, I've got
Someone you haven't worked before.
I've never had a singles with Madison Eagles, so that as one. I've also never had I don't think I've ever had any kind of match with Kai Drake. So I'd very
He's
much
good.
like to wrestle him because he looks fun, I guess, when he hits people. Yeah.
His match.
So I think that would be really cool.
His match with Steph was great. I really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
see, I really like that. So I think I'd really like to wrestle him. There's so many people I like. I haven't had a singles match with Paris either, I don't think. So that one as well. There's so many people I want to wrestle. Oh, Robbie, that's on there.
Oh,
Which
absolutely.
was gonna
Well,
happen.
we got the top 5, so we'll,
Yeah,
we'll take that because as we said before, it's like, who's your favorite wrestler? What time of the day is it? Like, how
yeah.
much time you
I don't
got,
know.
buddy? But who would you like to really see, facing you on the other side of the ring internationally?
Oh, that's even harder because there's even more options, isn't there?
Well, I'll give you
Um,
5. I'll give you 5 names if that helps.
5 names. Okay, I'd love to wrestle. Obviously, I think Matt Sydal because that would just be insane to me. I wouldn't believe it's happening. Be like an out of body experience, I think. Um, who else is there?
Alcoholic Adam
So
says one-on-one drinking contest with him.
that's it for sure, definitely. But that's a local one as well.
That's it. That's it.
I'd love to wrestle someone like Alex Shelley. Even I think that would be really that'd be crazy.
Oh, yeah. Like, he very similar style to Matt Sydal as well. Like
Yeah,
Alex
exactly. You
Shelley.
can tell what I like, really, can't you?
Yeah. I can definitely see that you like that sort of X Division type, sort of
Yeah,
high flying, quick paced. Yeah, definitely. I'm a huge fan of that sort of style myself. Like, I'm a big mark for the old school WCW cruiserweights, and I go back and just
yeah.
find
Oh,
myself
definitely.
making
Oh,
reruns of that. And even like early ECW days with Rey Mysterio and Psychosis and those sort of matches
yeah.
where like
I remember
headsets
early
on the
ECW.
card and shit. Oh, absolutely. But being in the world of pro wrestling and traveling and being here in Australia, like, if it wasn't for COVID, like, is the ultimate goal for you to go over to the United States, or is it to stay here and build your brand here?
I'm not 100% sure. I think my ultimate goal would be to make a living off wrestling and to be able to just support myself by doing what I love, and whether that's because I do love going to the States. I'd love to go to the UK sometime as well. I'd also really, really, really love to go to Japan as well. I think I'd really like it there. Oh, it's always
I
such a
think
hard
that,
question, like what your ultimate goal is. I never want to narrow it down, and I really should just pick one ultimate thing and then just really work towards it. But I'm really just like, I want to try everything.
but that's the thing. If you want to try everything, that's what you need to do, and to experience
Yeah.
that as well. Like, to go over to a country like Japan, where
Mm,
speaking a different language, and taking yourself out of your comfort zone, but also working with people that don't speak the same language as you in the ring. So
exactly. It'll be
that
very
that
hard, but such an
it,
experience.
it'd be hard, but it'd be such an experience. I think that anyone who does that and goes over these other countries, especially ones that don't speak the same language, I take my hat off, because I reckon that would be one of the hardest things in the world to do.
No, I agree. I think it'd be such a challenge, but it'll be such a rewarding challenge as well, and such a different like just a culture difference as well. I think will be such an incredible experience.
Yeah, like, you find like a lot of it, with the Japanese style specifically as well, is definitely your style that I think that you're a fan of from what we're having the conversation
Yeah.
about. But even like places like the UK as well, where the wrestling scene pre-COVID, the UK wrestling scene was on fire. And
Yeah,
that was,
exactly.
and I think even it was the same with the Australian wrestling scene, and it still is. But once this damn COVID goes away and we get to have
Yeah.
shows where they should, but
Needs to
I
hurry
definitely
up.
think it definitely does. Like, I'm over it myself. But where do you? What, obviously, you know, yeah, I just went blank. But what are you expecting for the rest of the year? Like, do you have any goals where you want to be? Who you think that you'll be going up against by the end of the year?
I know all my matches for the PWA Premiership, obviously. So I have all that massive list of people to get to first. And then mine was to make to the other Premiership. So I'd want to win my bracket and then face whoever wins bracket A. And I'd also love to defend my title belt, I think. I haven't done that in a while. So I think it's about time I find some good challenges for it, really, because no one seems to want to challenge for it.
Well, there you go. I mean, I'm sure there's some plenty of good challenges there. I'm sure Adam will want to have a drinking competition with you, but
There you go for the belt, imagine.
yeah,
He'd
exactly.
win. He'd
Do it
win
for
the
the
belt.
belt, Adam. I can just imagine alcoholic Adam stumbling down the entrance to the ring. Just
I'm a
one more
lightweight.
drink. Oh, so am I, man. I can't drink to save myself. But one of the things that you guys are doing really well with PWA is building some of these storylines up, and seeing that sort of unfold live. But also now, I walked away and now I've like subscribed to Ovo Play, and I'm like trying to like binge watch as much PWA as I can just to sort of get it across. And I just love it. Like it's a great product that you guys are putting out. But as far as storylines go, how do you find like sort of implementing like a longer term storyline? Is it something that you've done? Is it something that you enjoy doing, or do you prefer more of the quicker sort of turnaround stories?
No, I definitely really enjoy the longer kind of storyline. I think the longest one I've had might have been with Shazza for the belt, I think, because we had heaps of matches leading up to it, and then she had to go away for a couple of months as well. So then I was still doing the storyline here by myself while she was in America. And then eventually she came back. We wrestled for the title. I won it, and then that was kind of the end of the storyline. And ever since then, I've kind of just had challenges, except for the cage match with Steph. That was a bit of a build up, only a couple of months build up even for a cage match. So I definitely like a storyline behind it. So I'm looking for anyone to come and challenge me at the moment.
There you go. But I really liked the promo you did. You had a
It's just a bit
match.
hard at the moment.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. But one of the things I was a real fan of was your promo that you did when you finished the match, and then they put up the thing of Tony Storm up on the big screen, and then you cut this promo on her saying that you're going to tap that bitch out. How was that for you? Because you could definitely see that the adrenaline was really pumping after that match. Was it the
Yeah.
excitement of eventually getting to face someone like Tony Storm, or was it just like I just had a badass match? Like what was going through your head, and what were the emotions like?
It's probably nervous about getting on the microphone because that's the worst part of wrestling.
Really?
It's not the worst, but I think it's the most nerve-wracking thing to do in wrestling is to get on the mic. So that's probably what it was. And also probably hyped up from the match. Then as soon as that's in my hand, I'm like, ah.
Well, you handled yourself well. And I think that the words that you spat out were just absolute fire for it, and that situation, it was you can feel the passion coming from it. But getting a chance to wrestle someone like Tony Storm, who again another phenomenal worker in the ring, was that something that you put on one of your favorite matches that you've had, or was it just
No,
okay you
definitely.
like?
I think that was really cool, especially Tony coming from Australia and then doing so much as well, doing so much in the UK and America, and now where she is right now in NXT. I think she's such a big inspiration for everyone, especially all the girls here in Australia. So that was really, really cool to be put in the position to be like, oh, you're the one wrestling her, Jess. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I'm nervous, but thank you. So no, that was a really fun match, and I learned so much from Tony as well. It was such a fun time.
And that's the thing. I think women's wrestling over the last few years has, really come to light, and it's really been put on the same pedestal as it's just as good as the men's wrestling. The performers can go just as well as the men can, and it's just unfortunate that it's taken this long, and been only the last few years where women's wrestling has really sort of been put on the map and given a main stage with some major promotions. How did you feel? Obviously, when you broke in 2014, was it like, at the time, women's wrestling was it probably on the build at that stage? Was that
It was,
something that
yeah.
weighed on the back of your mind a little bit?
No, I think it was definitely on the build, especially coming into places like PWA where I had Madison Eagles to look up to. I'm like, oh, that's the standard then.
Yeah.
So, and she was always like really high up, if not the highest in like the roster. So I was pretty lucky coming to PWA. I knew that they treated like all their females with respect and how they should compared to other places in the world where they were still considered to be like a toilet break match. So I've never had to experience anything too bad. I think I came in at a pretty good time where women's wrestling was moving up in the world, where people um, treated it how it should be treated, just like how they treat the men's wrestling. It's a fight. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you're a wrestling fan, it doesn't matter if it's men or women. If it's a good match, it's a good match, and you can't
Yeah,
take that
exactly.
away from anyone.
Yeah.
And that's why I said earlier, like I'm a huge fan of women's wrestling. I'm a huge fan of the men's wrestling. I wasn't a huge fan of intergender wrestling, but you guys changed me on that.
I'm
And
glad we did.
I'm glad you did too, because usually with intergender matches, I just all right, I'm
Can't
gonna
get
go
into it.
away.
Yeah.
And to me, sitting down and watching it, the matches were believable, they were well put on, and it flowed, and I was able to sort of let that go and go, wow,
Yeah.
this is some really good wrestling. And I think that's the thing. A lot of fans who don't like intergender wrestling, if you're like me and you didn't like it, go and watch some PWA matches, and I
Yeah.
guarantee you'll fall in love with it, or any
Yeah.
good intergender wrestling.
Yeah. It was really cool the day of that show when you came and watched. I realized once I got there, I was like, oh, there's so many girls in this show, but none of them are in the women's match. They're all just wrestling guys. I thought it was really cool. I noticed it on the day. I was like, wow, it was a sick time.
Well, that was the thing. I walked away from it, and I'm like, like all
Yeah.
the women wrestled men on that show, and I was like, that's fucking cool. Like that, I didn't
Yeah.
realize it until the end of the show driving home, and I'm like, man, that was such
Hang
a
on a
cool show. And I'm like,
second.
hold on a second, that was that match. Wow,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and that is saying something. And that you guys, blew the water out, and it shows that what the standard is there and how high it needs to be for any performer, male or female, to go in there.
Yeah. No,
So,
I agree, definitely.
but oh, someone knocking on the door.
Someone is knocking at my door. Hello? Go away.
Hello?
Oh, God. No. Don't come in.
Yes?
I'm doing a podcast.
Oh.
They're gone. This is what it's like to live in a house full of wrestlers. No respect.
So you live with Ricky South, correct? Like, you guys are
I do.
housemates?
Yeah, he lives in the room across from me. Disgusting.
There you go. Really? He seems like such a clean young gentleman.
No, he's good. He's a good roommate. He's a good housemate, yeah.
There you go. We thought we were going to get the dirt on Ricky South, guys. Sorry, we didn't do it.
I've got
Anyway,
nothing to tell.
No, I'm only joking. But, living in a house, like everyone's a wrestler in your house that you live with right now.
Everyone is in the wrestling business, yes.
That is insane. Like, do you guys, is there wrestling going 24/7 in that house?
There has been before. There has been days when Ricky and I will practice something crazy like a Casadora into something, and we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this on the carpet. But
better than doing it on the tiles. Shit.
Or into something, and we're like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this on the carpet. Get out of my bedroom. That was a whole bunch of people. They're watching us though.
There you go. That's amazing that
Yeah.
they're supporting and getting into the show and everything like that. Thank you guys for coming in and too sweeting Jess. We needed
How
that.
fantastic.
Exactly. But Jess, as far as if anyone wants to find out where they can, find you on social media, where's the best places to go?
So basically you can search me up on Instagram or Twitter at Jessica Troy Pro, or you can find me on Instagram on Facebook at just Jessica Troy.
There you go. We just brought it up so you can find.
Wow, that's so
Jessica.
fast.
There you go. I had it pre-written down. I was like, oh, bang, one click of the button. But guys, look, we just did get a large spike in numbers, so I do appreciate everyone for watching. Please do me a favor and click that like button, click that subscribe button. But Jess, what's up next for you? Who's the next on your hit list, on your arm collection list?
The next is actually, it has to be Jude London, I believe. That's at the PWWA Premiership. That's my next match. It's me against Jude's arm.
Well, I'm actually having Jude on next week. So, have you got any messages to pass? Any messages to pass on to Jude?
Yeah, you're a loser.
Whoa!
Yeah, and he'll have nothing to say to me because he's so bad at comebacks.
There you go, Jude. If you're watching this show, buddy, you're going to be on next Tuesday night, my boy. So, maybe you'll have another message for Jess. But Jess, look, I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I've really enjoyed spending some time talking to you. And I'm definitely going to be at the next PWA show and cheering you guys on from there. So, Guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, this is Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I'm Piers Austin. We're brought to you by Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance. My next interview coming up will be early Saturday morning, which will be 3 a.m. Australian time. So I am going to be up early, but guys, you don't want to miss it because my guest will be the newly inducted Hall of Famer in the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame, Ken Shamrock, the most dangerous man alive. So please, guys, make sure you tune in for that one. If you're up at 3 a.m., why not? You should be watching me. That's the way that it works. But Jess, thank you for being a guest. It's been a great having you on.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you. And thank you for dealing with my housemates as well.
No problem at all. We definitely will get you back on very, very soon for part
Yes,
two.
please.
Maybe after the PWA Premiership when you've
Sounds
got
like
the
a plan.
trophy and a couple of arms. All right, guys. We'll catch you next time.